450. Another bad example. Let me try one more thing.
You know they got the property sale tomorrow.
I thought they had it today. I'm broke.
Today is only for all.
If we put money in those units, right? If we put money in Cambridge, I have put money in Cambridge before, and it's amounted in some really bad.
All right, we got him out again. All right, let's try this one more time. So
I'm basically saying I'm gonna throw fuel.
I think I was doing something like this,
That's all that really
maybe
happened.
less.
With all the evidence I have. So when I sit there and think, oh, maybe I should get some more money, and maybe I should get some more gasoline, kerosene, throw on this fire. That's ridiculous. Like, and then I sit there and talk to people. I'm like,
Maybe it's been a little funny here. So 604 is owed on this one, price 735, so not a ton. I was seeing much better deals coming up just the other day doing this. This one, similar example. So 240 owed, 305 is the list price, so 65. They're looking to just pocket a little bit of money. Now, what I would do, this is important right here. You know, always keep in mind, most of the time when these people are living in the property, the seller, most of the time, they're going to need money to be able to move, right? So if I were to add the filter of absentee owner, that's going to eliminate a lot of those people that are like, I need money to move. You know, it's already vacant for the most part, or they got a tenant in there, one of the two. So let's check out a few of these. And so I guess what I'm getting at with that is then they could do a hybrid, right? So if they're not living in the property, then the odds are greater that they definitely don't need cash to move. So you kind of like eliminate that issue, right? So like this example, not the best one, but 220, they want 330,000 for it. So they got 110,000 in equity on this, or 108,000 in equity on this. That's a lot of equity, but this could potentially be a good hybrid deal if the seller doesn't need the money. We know he doesn't need money to move, so maybe he could seller finance the equity to us, right? Subject to the debt, seller finance the equity, and boom, we're in the deal. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow me with that? I don't know why these filters, they almost seem like broken today, because this should be producing a lot more people with very, very little equity, but it's not for some reason.
Well, I would say that property you just pulled up, they're asking 304. I mean, it's been on the market for almost 6 months now that I noticed it. I mean, so that's if they get their max price offer at 304. They might be getting offers at like 280.
That is true too. Yeah, ideally, like what I'd like to try and populate is just properties like off rip. We could see like what I was doing with John was like, oh yeah, mortgage at 220 and they got the thing listed for 240. Like they just want to pay commission, closing cost, and walk away. Like that's the opportunity I was really producing with these filters. I don't know if it's this market that these records are just like off. What you could do, I just thought of something though. What you could do too is do something like purchase date. So if I did like, watch this, purchase in the last 12 months. And let's do a purchase price at like a max of 400. I'll even go to like 350 to 400. This maybe we'll do it. 390, they got the thing listed. No, that ain't doing it either. Jeez. It may be different in your market. And if you guys don't use auto, you're on a different platform, it might just populate exactly what we're trying to find. Let me try one other thing here. I don't know if this is going to do it either. 330 is what they owe. All right, here we go. We finally found one. All right, this is like literally a grand slam. So they owe 329,000 approximately, and they have it listed for 327. They have no equity at all. So this would just be subject to pay the commission, pay the closing costs, done. Now the nice part too is some of these deals when we're filtering like this are in short sales. So we're going to come across people that have like no equity or very little equity, but they're actually not even behind on the mortgage. So we don't have to worry about that reinstatement amount. Don't have to worry about trying to maybe do a loan modification, right? It's just straight sub 2. Something like this probably won't work. This is probably like a hedge fund. They got 1.7 billion in loan. Holy crap. Yeah, they got a lot of properties, a lot of real estate. But this is like what we're looking for, where the equity gap is just small. They owe 329, they're asking 327. They're willing to take a loss on that one. See if I can find maybe just one more for you guys. 851,000 owed, and they want 400. There might be something funny. This mortgage debt of the 851 that might be linked to some of these other properties here, but I would call and explore because I mean, right off rip, it's showing negative equity. Any, I guess, questions on that? Really, what we did there? Just if anybody's trying to duplicate that, I think this kind of like fixed it. So they've owned it for at least 1 year. So they're probably not behind on the mortgage or not far behind on it. Max equity percentage of 2%. And then it's populating these deals with negative equity. Seems to do the trick. Any questions, I guess, on any of this from anybody?
Yeah, you might want to try it in Pensacola because Pensacola is a huge Air Force base and naval station. And so a lot of these people buy it with VA loans. They put nothing down, but they're always moving like 6 months to a year later. So there's always something coming up.
It's right here, right? No. Where's Pensacola? Somewhere up here, right?
The next is right to the left of, right to the right of Gulf Shores. Go a bit, a little more right.
Like right up in here, right?
That's you got to shift the map over to. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. There, yeah, it's Pensacola right there. Yeah.
Small area, so there might not be a whole lot that comes back, but we could try. All right, so 12 come back on this. Let's check this guy out. And it kind of just comes down to like sifting through some of these. 152 owed. Yeah, grand slam right here too. They got it listed for $130. They owe 152. This might be a short sale. And look, it's also a foreclosure, no auction, so they are behind on the mortgage. This could be a play. This is probably another hedge fund. To 1,300 properties they own. It's a lot of real estate. But they owe more than what it's worth. So another great example. Check out maybe one more. 294 is what's owed. Yep, perfect. 320 is what they got it listed for. They want to pay commission, closing costs, and walk away. That's all this person's trying to do. So you can negotiate, like they're literally expecting to walk away with like no money at all. So negotiate that commission down. Give them 3% of the purchase, or try and knock them maybe like 1%, whatever you think you could do. Do it as an agreement for deed, eliminate the closing cost if it's not in budget, and then boom, that's an easy deal to put together if they're open to subject to. Now, just keep in mind though, these are on market, so the better ones would be the off market. A lot more are going to come back. So 520 came back on this search. The only thing is these people, they don't have their hand up saying, hey, I want to sell my house, right? So out of 520, maybe 15 or 20 of them actually want to sell their home. So just keep that in mind too. Bigger list like this, I'd plug into like a dialer or do like an SMS blast. All right. Any questions, I guess, on any of this?
Yeah, on the different platforms, do they all include dialers?
They don't. No,
Oh, so that's a separate application?
that is. Yeah, it's all separate. So, batch leads, they have a dialer. They also have SMS. Those are, separate purchases. And then auto leads, that's AI calling. So, like, if I were to put together the list, I just click call, and then AI is going to call, have the whole convo, and generate a summary of the lead. Yep. All right. You guys have any other questions? You feeling good? Make sure we didn't skip anything. No, that's pretty much it. That's it with the data. All right. Any other questions, I guess, before we pivot and we talk about novations a little bit? Joe, I see you in the chat. I have one about that 2 lien property we chatted about on Tuesday. You had a question on that, Joe?
Yeah, I did send you a DM or a Discord DM because you asked my number, and I believe I sent it to you, and I was just waiting to see what I should send to. I think it was an attorney or coming up with a mock draft of what to present to the realtor or so he can present to the client. But I was just curious on what I should do about that situation.
I'm looking at it now. So that's with Austin.
Or sorry, Stu, the Blue Springs address, the 22605. It's the big one we called about. It was it's a huge house that had new windows put in.
What's the question again, though?
Oh, sorry, just about, or you said you asked for my phone number there, and I sent it to you, and I wasn't sure if I was going to receive a text or not about, I guess, what to do about that situation.
Wait, what? I'm blanking though. I look at 2
Sorry.
details. What's the situation though? This was Stu, right?
Yeah, I was trying to follow up with Stu on.
Where we leave off though? Like, did we shoot an email or something?
I did not shoot an email, but I know he asked something along the lines of sending something over to an attorney, and I guess we were.
Were they going to ask the attorney just about that idea?
I believe, yeah. I was just curious on.
That was the big house, right?
Yes.
Real big house, probate deal. Yeah, we could do a follow up on that. What I would do is just shoot. Have you ever like spoke to Stu or like texted or emailed or anything like that?
I have, yes.
All right, just shoot him a text then. Just be like, "Hey, Stu, you spoke to Eric the other day. Have you spoke to the attorney about our creative finance deal?" And let's see what he says to that.
All right, sounds good.
All right, sweet. All right, let's. I guess any other questions before we talk about novations?
I guess I had one more question. Sorry, going back to the Austin. He emailed me back and was asking the seller would only be interested instead of doing a subject to. He wants to do a contract for deed. And I don't think we could.
No, that's totally fine. Even better because that'll kill the closing cost. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that'll be a safe way to like get your first deal under your belt and get comfortable with all this stuff. So.
I'll just tell him I talked with my partner Eric, and we can do the contract for deed.
Yep. Yeah. Perfect, man. Sweet. All right. Let's talk about novation a little bit. Hey, to be honest, guys, I didn't write down any notes, so I'm just going to go off the top here with the novation. So with novation, before novation kind of got like popular, from like a technicality standpoint, what a lot of people would do just to try and get you guys the concept. So if numbers were like tight with a cash deal and sellers not willing to flex on the price, what people would do is say, hey, how about we partner on the deal? So seller, what we'll do is you'll give me full control to do the rehab, renovate the home, get the home on the market and sell it. And when it sells, then I'll give you your price. Right? Does that kind of make sense? So, hey, you want 500,000? How about your house needs a lot of work. How about we work together? How about I come in, I'll do the whole rehab. And when I sell it, when it's done being fix and flip, then you'll get that 500,000, that price that we agreed on. Does that make sense? So let's say this, let's say, I see you're like, Joe. So let's say we're looking at a deal. Seller wants 500,000. That's their list price. House needs a bunch of work. And we ran our numbers and we're like, the most we could offer this person is like 470 or 480. Let's say 480, right? And Joe, the seller's like, dude, 480, that's too low. I need my 500,000. And we're like, dude, your house needs 60,000. We just can't do that. So what we're looking to do is just a conversation. Joe, I got an idea, man. I can get you the 500 if you're opening to partnering. He's like, what would that look like? Well, I'd come in, I'll do the full rehab on the home. And when it sells on market, when we're done fixing and flipping it, that is when you get your 500,000.
So that 60 you put in there, he'd end up getting that 500,000.
Say that again?
Or we would put in 60,000 into the rehab, and then we would give him the 500,000 after it's all finished and sold on the market.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you're going to give me full control of the property. And obviously, it's all specified, like what you could do, how long you have, all this stuff. But I'm going to get full control. That way I could go in, renovate it. I could hire a listing agent. I can negotiate that deal on the back end on the MLS. And when that sells, then you'll get that price that we agreed on. Does that make sense?
That's good to know. Yeah. Okay. I have my roommate. He's a general contractor and has his own business, and he's teamed up with some other realtors, like kind of doing the same thing. But that's okay.
What that does, though, for the investor, two things. One, it allows for us to be able to offer more on a property. And the reason for that is number two, because it's increasing the cash on cash return for that person actually fixing and flipping it. The reason it's increasing their return on investment, increasing the cash on cash return, is simply because they don't have to make that initial purchase. Right. If I got to spend 500,000 to buy the house, then I got to put 60,000 into it. Say I'm in it for like $170, $180 when it's all said and done, and then I'm only making 40. I'm going to have a whatever cash on cash return. But if my only expense with the Novation is to do the rehab, that's all I got to spend. I don't got to spend 560. I only got to spend 60, and I get that same roughly, that same profit. It is significantly increasing the return on investment. Does that make sense? Now,
Yes.
I don't, obviously you could definitely do that. I haven't done one of those in that sense. I've done them a little differently. So let me pull up the whiteboard and let me draw this. So innovation is basically what real estate agents call a net listing. No, not quite. So check this out. This is how I do, Novation a little bit differently. So my flow is to always try and do a cash deal, no matter what the property is. I'm going to attempt to do cash. If cash doesn't work, I do creative. If creative doesn't work, I do Novation. But it's going to be totally different than what I just explained to you guys. Similar but different. So what happens on my end is a completely different pitch. It's not seller, how about we partner, I do the work, and then we sell it. This is going to be seller, it's not going to work. This is my pitch. Seller, it's not going to work for a cash deal. I get creative finance doesn't work for you. We offer one other program when we can't buy a property, and that would be for you to get it on the market just like a normal listing, except you don't pay any closing costs or commission. The buyer pays the closing cost and in the commission. They're like, oh wow, really? So what happens is, if you guys see the screen, I'll contract it for their rock bottom. Let's say with this example, they're like, Eric, my rock bottom's 100,000. And then, so I'm in contract to buy it, just like a normal wholesale deal, but my contract specifies that I have the rights to list it on the MLS. So I have the rights to list it on the market with an agent. And obviously it's full transparency. They're aware, I explained it all to them. And so what'll happen is I'll have then a listing agent list the property on the MLS for max market value. So, hey, we got the house under contract for $100,000. Listing agent, I want you to slap this thing up for $130,000. Right? And so, boom, there's a $30K gap right here. I'm at seller's rock bottom, which is still higher than my cash offer, but there's still some room in the deal. They said they'd take 100, but it's really, I think, max market value is this 130. So I'm in contract for 100. It's a 90-day contract, 90-day inspection period. So I have 90 days to shop the deal out, right? I have so much time to try and find a buyer. But my agent, I'm not blasting it to the buyer's list. My real estate agent's going to list it on the market for max market, 130 Gs. And what happens is how this transaction kind of unfolds is it's double closed. Right, you guys remember talking about that the other day? So I'm in contract with my seller for the 100. Let's say we find a buyer that's like, yeah, I'll buy it for the 130. Awesome. So I'm going to be going into contract with them, not assigning it to them, but a new purchase contract where I'm the seller, they're the buyer, and they're paying 130,000, that max market value. So I'm double closing it. Now, remember, with the double close, there's 2 sets of closing costs, potentially 1% transfer tax, depending on the state, for each, for the double close on both sides when you purchase and then when you sell. But you also have the agent's commission. That's the other thing. The agent has to get paid, so they're also getting paid out of the spread. From my experience, because you're going to be giving the listing agent a lot of business like this, they'll take a haircut. So 5% is what they're going to charge if another real estate agent brings the buyer. So 2.5 to the listing agent, my agent, 2.5 to the buying agent. If it's only the listing agent and the listing agent's the one that finds the buyer too, then I'm going to try and get them to accept maybe like 2.5, 3%. Right, so out of this 30K spread, we got commissions, we got closing costs on both transactions when we bought it in the double close and then when we sold it in the double close. Does that make sense? We'll probably run this back, but one thing I just want to point out before I forget, some people are like, why don't you just find an agent that'll do like 3% or do it like, or why don't you just go with like that flat fee type of real estate agent? The reason I like to stay at 5% is because you want to make the deal enticing to the buying agents. When the buying agents are searching the MLS to find their, interested party of property, if they see like you're only offering 1% or 2%, they might be like, I'd rather find them a different house because I can get paid more. But if they see that they're getting the full 2.5%, maybe even 3%, they'll be a little more inclined to call your listing agent up and be like, hey, I got a buyer interested. Does that make sense? Because they're getting paid more, right? So you don't want to be super cheap with the commission because that could hurt how many offers actually come in. All right. Anybody want me to like run this back or confused or have questions?
I just had one question on the original novation idea. Are there hard money options for that, for the rehab side of it?
Hard money, probably not, because you're not getting the deed. Private money, I would say yes. Because you don't technically own it, right? The seller, it's in the seller's name. So.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, what's cool, though, is like what I love about the whole real estate game is you can do whatever you come up with, right? So if you wanted to do the original novation where it's like, hey, let's partner up, I'll do all the work. You can contract that deal, hit up your cash buyers and be like, yo, I got a home run. So you're not going to spend any money on the purchase, cash buyer. You're only going to spend money on the rehab. And when it sells, then we cash the seller out for their 4. And because I put together this deal, I'm not going to charge you an assignment fee. I want to go, 60-40 on the profit when it's all done. And so, boom, now you're making a whole lot more money than an assignment, and you're involved in the fix and flip. Doug in the chat, how long can you keep the property under contract with the seller? Max time to find a buyer? I normally do 90 days. So let me go back to my pitch a little bit. It's all about the setup. This was like a huge game changer for me in the beginning. Like I was doing, anywhere from 2, 3, maybe if I'm lucky, 5 deals a month as a one-man band. And when I implemented the Novation, 20 plus contracts every single month because the pitch was so good. We tried the cash, we tried the creative. Who could say no? Like the way I kind of finessed and set these people up is before I get into the pitch, so like, hey, it's not going to work for cash. I get you don't want to do creative finance. Joe, I mean, let me ask you, why haven't you listed and I'm not an agent, Joe. I'm just curious, man. Like, why haven't you listed it on the MLS? More times than not, they don't list the property. What comes out of their mouth is, I don't want to pay the commission. Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you. Who would want to pay that? We actually, I'd have to see, this is my exact pitch. I'd have to see if we can get you qualified. Only a few people do, but when a property doesn't work for us, we offer a program that allows for you to get the home on the market, just like a normal listing. But the big thing is you don't pay any commission. The buyer pays the commission. And more times than not, the objection that's out of their mouth is, that sounds too good to be true. And then you're just having to explain it. Well, it's not, we're not doing it for free. We're paid from the buyer. They're like, oh, okay, which is insane. You could literally go on Zillow and rip the backdated stuff, 100 days on market, 200 days on market, and start pitching this to them. They're holding out because they don't, more times than not, again, they don't want to pay the commission. So it's, Joe, why haven't you listed it, man? Dude, I don't want to pay the commission. Yeah, I don't blame you. Who wants to pay that? I'd have to see if I can get you qualified. That's the big piece because you don't want to sound like anybody gets into this. I'd have to see if I can get you qualified. But we offer a program that allows for you to get the house on the market, just like a normal listing, except you pay no commission. And they're like, wow. And then as far as the qualification, well, what do we got to do to qualify? Well, what you'd have to do, is the big thing is the exposure is through the roof. It's this is how I explain it to them. You're getting the MLS exposure, right? So it's going on the MLS. You're getting a ton of eyeballs on it. But the other thing too is we're marketing this to thousands of people. And what I'm referencing is our cash buyers list, guys. If you don't have thousands, whatever it is, I got a couple hundred people. So for me, we're marketing the property on top of the MLS. It's getting marketed to thousands of people in the market. So the big thing with this program is stuff like sells like that. Your home's been on the market 100 days. This thing's going to be gone in the matter of a week to 2 weeks. So the big thing to qualify people is to make sure that you can close within 90 days. It's all psychology, man. The whole thing's psychology. Because they're like, yeah, they want to sell it. They've been trying to sell it forever, and you're giving them the number they want. So they're like, yeah, dude. Seller, can you for sure close in 90 days? Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll do is I kind of I play with them a little bit, so I'll like almost ask the question a few more times. Like, I don't believe what you're telling me. You're saying, yes, you could do it, but I'm going to act as if I don't believe you. So Joe's like, yeah, man, we can close in 90 days. Like, are you sure though? And the only reason I'm asking Joe is because we've had sellers say, yeah, we can close in 90 days. We get a buyer like that and they weren't expecting it. And then they can't, they need more time, so can you 100% close within the 90 days? Yeah, man, not a problem, not a problem. All right, let me put you on a brief hold. Let me see if I can get you approved. Come back from the hold. Hey, man, great news. I got you approved for the program. We're going to get the agreement over to you today. When can we come by and get those photos? Or whatever, how do we want to go into like an assumption with the close? Assume like, yo, we're doing this because I got you approved. Right. So that's kind of the finesse. And I'm telling you, it was like 20 freaking contracts a month. The first month I did that, 23, 24 contracts. Now, the beauty about all of this is you just sit back and relax, dude. It's the best. It's like you almost own the real estate. It's the best thing ever because I can't contact my real estate agent. Yo, Christine, I got another listing. When can you go over there? She goes over there, gets her nice photos, throws it on the MLS, and I'm chilling, dude. I'm chilling because all I'm doing is waiting for Christine, my real estate agent, to call me up. Hey, Eric, we got an offer on this. Eric, do you want to counter it? Do you want to accept it? And she's doing all the legwork. She's coordinating the showings with the seller. She's going back and forth, taking all the phone calls. And I'm just getting contacted when there's an offer on the property. Eric, we got an offer at 110. Do you want to counter it? Yeah, hit him with 120. And that's it. and I just wait and I just decline offers or counter the offer and then eventually accept the offer that works, that allows for us to make what we want to make on the deal. And then boom, we just double close it out. Agent gets paid, seller gets that number they were looking for, and the deal's done. This is so crucial. I'm telling you, this will add multiple six figures to the top line, guys. So it's so important that you guys understand this. Any questions on the process, any of this? Do I need to run any of this back? I really want to make sure you guys grasp it. If you're totally lost and you're like, dude, I don't get it, just let me know, guys.
What's the best way to find an agent that'll work with you like that? Do you just hit the phone book and call up some agents and pitch the idea to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of close. And again, out of the 25K spread comes out commission, closing costs. So it's 2 sets of closing costs for this transaction and this one. And depending on the state, you might also have a 1% transfer tax on both of these transactions. Questions? This is like a lot of money to be made if you guys can get this one down. A lot of money. Because think about it this way too. We have just to paint a picture, right? There's even real estate agents that now pitch it this way, right? They're like, yo, why am I even doing this whole normal listing thing? Because if you think about it, it's like, I don't want to say acting as an agent without being licensed, because that's illegal. You cannot do that. So you got to be very careful how you pitch it to and how you operate with this. We can't say, oh yeah, we're going to list your property for you, because we're not. I'm not licensed. It's I work with a licensed real estate agent, and my agent is the one that lists the property on the MLS. So it's very important that you explain that properly. Never, I'm putting it on the market, I'm listing it, because I'm not licensed. That's a big no-no. So you always just got to be very careful in the pitch. But if you think about it, think in similar, I'll phrase it this way, you're kind of operating in similar ways as a normal listing agent. But think about the competition, me versus a normal listing agent. Joe, the licensed agent, saying, hey, we can get your home on for 5%. We do flat fee of 1%. And I'm coming in and saying, hey, you can get it on the market with my agent, and you literally pay nothing. Who are they going to go with? It's a no-brainer. And I'm saying it's done in 90 days. Dude, it's done in 90 days. You literally pay nothing. How do you say no to that? Right? So that's why you're able to get, like, Christine, man, she was the top. She probably still is, but dude, I mean, like, an extra 20 listings a month. She had to start hiring new people onto her team because she couldn't even handle the volume. And then you got these other real estate agents in the market like, yo, how is Christine doing this many? How is she getting 20 listings a month? And it's just like, dude, it's the strategy. You have to know the strategy to, pitch it and then structure the deal so it could be a win-win. Now, I guess before I go deeper into this, any questions in the chat? Alex, are we doing deal help today? If we have time, yes. I'm going to have a hard out at 5, but we should have time. Is there a clean way to avoid the seller getting pissed if their house is on the MLS? Guys, it's full transparency. Like, there's no like shady business here. It's going on the MLS. And then once that contract's signed, I call them up. Hey, I'm going to send my agent over there. She's going to meet you. She's going to get the photos, and she's going to be the one to coordinate all the showings. So there's no shady business. So like, I got a contractor coming to see the property, or I got my partner seeing the property. Like, they're fully aware that it's on the MLS. It's being shopped out. There's going to be 20 showings, whatever the case is. Everything's on the up and up with these people. There's no shady business with this, with how I do this, at least. So everything's on the up and up. How do we handle the objections of why would I go through you when I could use my own agent? Yeah, easy. Your agent's charging you what, 5%? And then do the math, right? You want $100,000, that's $5,000 right there. You want 300,000, you're paying 15 G's to sell your home. That's freaking nuts. So with us, you literally pay nothing. That 100 that you want, that's what you're walking away with. You literally pay nothing. It's like you sold it on your own. There is videos in the course, yes. It might be in Dom, it might be in the original course, and then you might have to go to like the Zoom recordings at the bottom. And I think the videos or additional knowledge, one of those sections, but I think the video is called the A1 listing program or listing program. Now this is again very different how everybody does novations. Nobody's doing this. I'll just put it that way. This is something I came up with when I was like 22 with my agent Christine, and I've yet to find anybody doing exactly this strategy. Similar to a technical novation, but different. What documents do you need to use to make the seller at ease? Just a normal purchase contract. Now, it will depend. This is where it kind of gets funky. It'll depend on the real estate agent that you're working with. right? So sometimes real estate agents and brokers, they're like, yeah, man, Eric has the rights based on the contract to get the home listed on the seller's behalf. But other brokers and agents will disagree with that. No, we got to be more protected. We want the actual home owner, the seller, we want them to sign the listing docs too. And that's where it can get a little funny. I've done it both ways. Not like it's ever really going to be an issue. If the broker or the agent that we want to work with, they're requiring the docs to be signed by the seller too. What the seller is signing is listing docs at 0%. And then there's going to be a second set of listing docs with me with their full commission. That way they get paid. So that's like, oh, we want to be covered that we actually have the right to list it. So seller signed these listing docs at 0%. Eric's paying our commission, and then I'm signing listing docs at the full percentage. You guys have a lot in the chat, so let's kind of just work through this. Jason asked, what kind of spread are you looking for to apply this? This is a really, really good question. Pay attention to this. Ready? There's going to be deals that I do where there's no spread off rip. You're probably like, huh? Let me draw this out. So there's going to be deals where the seller wants $100,000 and the house is literally worth $100,000. So there's no spread to be doing closing costs, commission, all this stuff. Select times, I will make the exception to contract these deals with the expectation that, hey, the seller's eventually going to come down on price. Or it's just tight, right? They want 100 and or they want 90 and it's worth 100. So there's only 10, not enough to cover all the expenses in the deal. But what you guys got to realize is, dude, these listing agents, 90% of them say they'll do anything to get a freaking listing, like literally anything. They'll promise the seller the world. And Ryan's an agent. Ryan, I'm sure you could attest to that too. Yeah, we'll put the home up at 250 knowing it's only worth 180. I mean, some I see that all day long. Probably a lot of you guys see that. It's like they'll promise these sellers the freaking world. And so my whole idea is like, these people, it's eventually going to go on the market. Some of these people that we're speaking to are like, yeah, we're talking to a real estate agent right now. You know, I come across that a lot too. And so like, what I think about is just the fact that somebody's going to get this listing. Somebody's going to put the home on the market. And it's not going to sell for that list price. It's going to sell for less. And somebody's going to be in that position when that seller has that realization that, hey, I can't get what I'm looking for, right? Like, we know it's only going to sell for 180, but they want to try and get that, or 200. They got to come down 20. And so maybe they're not ready to drop that 20 today, but eventually they will if they actually want to. And if I don't lock this up today and put it on the market, some other agent's going to lock it up for the freaking 200, put it on market. It's going to sit for 6 months. And then when the seller finally does realize that they need to come down on the price, it's the listing agent that's right there, still in contract when that price drop actually does happen, and they're the ones that still end up getting paid on the transaction. So depending on like the seller situation, the conversation, and just the vibe I'm getting from these people, that'll kind of determine for me if it's worth like, yo, do we put it on the market even though we know there's no spread, knowing that eventually they're going to come down? And I'll be the one when they finally have that realization, not Tom, some other random real estate agent. So I want to be in that hot seat when they have that realization. And the only person that's going to be in the hot seat is whoever contracts the deal today, whether it's me or some other agent. Now, obviously, we want to be ethical. So it's important that, I'm not promising them the whole world, with these types of people. I'm not going to say like, yo, your home's definitely going to be sold in 90 days. I'll come up with a lot of confidence, like, yo, we're going to give it our best shot. But you want to keep it real, like keep it ethical. Like, yo, Ryan, bro, like, dude, I get you want 100. You're like maxing it out. To be honest, I think it's a little high. I'm willing to give it my best shot to pull that off. I'm probably the best person to try and give it a best shot and get you the actual 100, but I don't want to promise you that. We could try, but I'm not going to guarantee that to you. And so that's kind of like how I like to be ethical with this when I'm doing, these types of structures on people where there's like, dude, you're asking more than what it's worth or what it's worth exactly. So it's like, keep it ethical with these people, keep it real with them. But I'm only going to pull the trigger if I sense like, this person's probably going to come down 6 months from now or a couple months. They'll be flexible on the price. Maybe they just want to be firm today because it's a 1-day Zillow listing, or they haven't even listed it yet. It's completely off market, so they still want to try for that super hot number. So if I can sense they'll come down, and then I'll pull the trigger. Any questions, I guess, on any of that? In the chat, what happens if the house doesn't sell in the 90 days? More times than not, we'll just extend it. So the big thing is be really, really on top of it too. So I said earlier, like, you're just kick back, relax. But what I would do is like call the seller, our dispo team. They would call the seller on a weekly basis and just give them updates. And sellers, they don't want to be left in the dark. Nobody likes to list their home and then it's 3 weeks until the listing agent calls and says like, yeah, nothing yet. So we really stay on top of it. So, hey, Mr. Seller, we're just reaching out. We want to just give you an update. No offers just yet. We're getting a ton of phone calls, ton of like whatever it is, just like really paint the picture like, this guy's on it, and they're just going to want to keep working with you, right? So hey, we're gonna do an email blast, we're gonna do a text blast. I've been calling buyers all day trying to find a buyer for you. Our agent's getting a ton of phone calls too. We got showings probably coming up this week. Like every week, just stay on these people, giving them a lot of updates, showing that you're working really hard to pull this off. And then if you do that, if you don't have a buyer within the 90 days, then the seller is going to be really inclined to like, all right, I like working with Ryan. He's doing his best. He's giving me updates. He's really trying. Yeah, Ryan, let's extend for another, 90 days, something like that. The other thing too, to try and avoid the extensions, I'd say 99% of the time, my seller is going to extend. Right. So as long as you do those things, they're going to extend. I've had stuff go for like a year when it started as a 90-day list. But the other thing too is don't bring up the price cut conversation super late in the game. So like we're 90 days, like no offers, try and like really feel it out. So like say we're getting offers in the beginning, then within 30 days, I'm going to have that conversation like, hey, I think we should drop it. We got it up at 200. These offers are coming in 160, 170. I think we can still get more, but I think we do got to lower the price. So try and have that conversation early, not 90 days in, a week before it expires. And I'm like, yo, John, I think we got to drop the price. He's like, no. Like, I'm just going to list with somebody else at this point. So it's kind of like a combination of all of these things to like really pull it off, and also to be able to get those extensions if needed. Ricky, is the best way to pitch it getting a price from them first, then pitching the novation? Because yes, with us, they aren't paying the commission, but they're going direct to agent, they'd be paying the commission. Yeah, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? So you always want to start with the cash offer to these people, because that's going to set so check this out. This is important. Even if we know a deal is going like, it's going to be creative finance or it's going to be a novation, no matter what the situation is, I'm always going to start with, I'm an investor, I want to do a cash deal. That's always going to be my front, always, every single time. The reason for that is because then you can find out what the seller's real rock bottom is on the deal before you pivot to creative or novation, right? So seller, I know you want 100. I'm a cash buyer. The whole spiel, as you guys hear me say every single day. I got to be at 70,000. I'm going to try and actually negotiate that deal. Can you go any lower? What's your rock bottom? Can you go any lower? And then once I get them to the rock bottom and I know the deal just ain't going to happen for cash, then I'll pivot to creative. Creative don't work. Then I pivot to novation, but at least I know that rock bottom, right? And that really helps with the creative finance too, right? I can get deals a lot cheaper. You want 100? Oh yeah, I'd like 100,000. Seller, I got to be at 60,000. Dude, the least I go is 75. Seller, the only way I can give you 75 is if you were open to seller finance, and boom, right, just like that, I saved 25 grand. So I got the creative finance deal with some equity in it now too, or just lower than what they initially wanted. So always start with cash, have that combo, then creative don't work, then novation, then listing. Now, let me, before I go a little deeper, do we have the agreements in the Discord? Yeah, it's literally just the purchase contract, and you'll see on that purchase contract at the very bottom, it's giving you the right to list it on the MLS. Yep. Now, check this out too. This is really cool. Watch this. Now, you got to be careful who you try and do this with, because you don't want to screw things up or like miss an opportunity to get a deal. Let's say we spoke to a seller. The house is dated, but it's livable, right? And let's say they were willing to do a cash deal. Like cash actually works for like, a seller, say the home's worth $200,000, right? And they're like, Eric, I'll accept your cash as is, right? As is, it's worth 200. Let's say they're like, yeah, Eric, I'm willing to accept your 140 cash offer because I'm in a distressed situation, man. I got to get this thing done and over with. Well, what if, and let's say with this 140 cash, this only allowed for us to make 10 grand, but it's worth 200 as is because it doesn't need to get repaired. Somebody can move into it. It's just dated. So I can make 10 on a normal wholesale deal, or I could do the listing program and pocket that full equity gap. I could pocket that $60,000. So there's also with this strategy an opportunity to say, I could do a wholesale and make my 10, or instead of doing wholesale, I could do a novation, maybe give them 5 grand more, and instead of making 10 G's, I'm making 35,000, making a whole lot more. Right. The only thing where I'm getting at with being careful is you don't want to it doesn't work for us buying it, even though you could buy it. Go so hard on the novation flops for whatever reason, and then it just becomes like ugly trying to go back to doing a cash deal. Like, oh, actually, I can't buy it. And you're like, huh? You just told me you couldn't. That's why you're doing the listing, and now you're saying you can. So it could make it a little messy. But there is look for those opportunities where it's like, yo, we could do cash, make 510, but it is livable, so we could do innovation too and make a whole lot more. Any questions at all on any of this? Tyler said, I'm new to novations. What's the difference between wholesale and novations? All right, so really, I guess I'm saying this is a novation. It's like yes and no. A technical novation would be a seller signing a novation agreement, and that's going to specify how much money they get after closing. And they're also signing power of attorney for us to have the right to either do repairs or list it on the MLS. So it's technically a true novation is technically different than this whole double close listing program. Very similar, but technically different based on the paperwork. Hopefully that makes sense. Nick, so starting to find your first agent and get the deal, find the agent. So start with finding the agent first or get the deal. First start with the agent, right? These deals are so easy. I'm telling you, you just call for 8 hours a day. You'll have like 1 to 3 deals every single day. It's really that easy. But start with finding the agent because that could take a little bit of time. That might take like 2 to 3 days to get them on board. And you don't want to contract it and then have a delay, several days until it actually gets on the MLS, right? We want to contract that and within 24 hours, it's on the market. So it's important that you have the agent lined up. If you guys are rocking in my market, Florida or Pennsylvania, I have agents, in my select area that could do this for you guys. If you guys are not in my market again, I'm willing to make the phone call for you and try and get it lined up on these Zooms. All right. Any other questions, I guess, on any of this? And Ricky, I see you got your hand up. I don't know if that's from earlier. Melanie, you guys could talk too. You guys don't have to type in the chat. Melanie said, So we would just be calling the for sale by owners to get this type of deal. Just remember what I said though, right? So like my flow is always wholesale, creative finance, then novation. Always. If you wanted to like, all right, I'm just going to try and do novations, then yeah, I mean, you can go on Zillow, just go 100 days back on the for sale by owners, and then that's going to be real easy. Like, seller, your home's been on 100 days. Why hasn't it sold yet? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you, because it's you don't have enough exposure. You have freaking 1,200 views on your post, and I had to go 6 pages back on Zillow just to find your house. That's why it hasn't sold. You know, and it's only going to become harder and harder to sell. You know, by next week, you'll be on the 7th page. By the end of the month, you'll be freaking 12 pages back on Zillow. Most people don't go 12 pages back on Zillow. You know, so why haven't you just, again, it's not going to work for cash, but why haven't you listed it? We're not paying the commission. I told you. Easy. Great. I might be able to get you qualified. And then boom, you're right there. But again, you know, if the goal, guys, is to like stack cash, I want to get out of the 9 to 5, I want to make money, like just focus on this whole flow, wholesale, creative finance, listing. And if you just do that, I'm telling you, you're going to just maximize the opportunity on what's in the pipeline. Bella said, I'm currently with a real estate agent, with a real estate agent's Facebook group of moms nationwide. Maybe we could ask them. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Bella. That'd be cool. I'm going to pull up the script. If you guys have any other questions, you guys could just unmute.
So you said like you would go wholesale creative finance and then this, but so what if I'm looking at like a super distressed property? I wouldn't want to creative finance that though, right?
That's a great question. You're saying you wouldn't want to creative finance a distressed property?
Like, would I not want to do that? Because that's what I've really been looking at, is just kind of like distressed properties that definitely need to be fixed.
Great question. If it's like a extremely light rehab, then yeah, a listing program can still be done. The thing with like the extremely beat up homes is only an investor is going to pick it up at an investment price that makes sense. So that's where it can get tricky. Most of the time on this normal listing program, they're being sold to like actual retail buyers, like families that are going to get a mortgage and then live in it. But if it's extremely distressed, what you could do if cash doesn't work or creative is do a standard novation. So seller, I get you want this price. What if we partnered up? You know, what if I came in, did all the work, and then when we sell it, then you get that you know number that you're looking for. And then that type of deal, you can contract it and then wholesale that to your actual end buyer. So like, hey, buyer, I got this deal. You pay my assignment fee. You invest the money into the rehab, and you don't have to spend any money on the purchase. And then when it sells, then you cash that seller out. So you can contract a distressed home as a standard novation and then assign it to your cash buyer or partner with them. Yo, Ryan, man, I got this deal. Would you be down to partner up? You don't have to spend any money on the purchase. All you got to do is spend money on the rehab, and we could do a 60-40 split when it sells. You're like, man, that sounds great. So that's I almost put together, I don't know what happened to it, but I had this lot down here in Tampa. They were down to do exactly that. Hey, you know, you build whatever on it, and I'll give you 24 months to cash me out. So I hit up my guy Jeff. I said, yo, Jeff, I got this lot on the beach. Why don't we partner up, dude? You could literally build the property, spend no money. It's like $500,000 for the lot. Save that $500,000. You don't got to spend any money on the purchase. You just build it. We refinance or sell it, and then we split profit. Or whatever, 70-30 on probably something like that. He's like, damn, man, all right, I like that. Save $500,000. So, it could work on land too if it's buildable. Other questions in the chat? Can we get a hard money loan for the rehab? Sean was asking that earlier. I don't think so, because you don't have the deed. Right, you don't actually have ownership of the home, so how are they going to secure it? They can't put a lien against the property unless the seller approves that. So yeah, private money.
Yeah, you could if you were going to flat out buy it at that price. But I mean, I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of the novation then, huh?
Yeah, then it would no longer be novation. Just a normal purchase. Can the seller back out after you do the repairs? No, because you have power of attorney. Obviously, you're going to put you file a memorandum to secure your interest that restricts them from selling or refinancing. So it's all in the paperwork to make sure you're protected. So memorandum, and then obviously power of attorney too, and then the novation contract. Easy to do these remote or be local. Doug, I do everything. I see like 99% of the stuff I do is virtual. I mean, there could be a deal right down the street. I'm still not going. So there's obviously benefits to going in person, but I don't do any of that. It's just not worth the time. I'll say this too. I don't want you guys to take that the wrong way. If you guys are working your local market, there's obviously benefits to being local too. So in the beginning, like before I started doing everything virtual first year, I was going to the properties, meeting these sellers. Hey, we're going to sit down in your living room and sign the contract, that type of stuff, which definitely helps. There's definitely benefit to going in person. But I've then, over the years, I've solely been focused on volume. So it's like, all right, I can spend an hour and a half between driving, meeting the people, driving back, whatever. Or I can spend an hour and a half and get another 60 phone calls done, which is more valuable. Then it's also like, can I lock this up virtually or do I think my odds are greater showing up? If I'm local, fine, then just show up if you think that's what it's going to take to get it done. So it's not like you want to be stubborn, but you just got to weigh it. What makes the most sense? How many novations have you done in terms of percentage? Percentage as far as what? Like how many deals I've done? Yes. That's a good question. I would say probably, I want to say more novations than typical wholesale deals, to be honest with you. Even though like my version of a novation is technically wholesale because you double close it, we would just have so many, dude. I think we'd have like a full whiteboard like this with nothing but rows. So I think we had 2 whiteboards just for novations, and those stayed full all the time. And then 2 for wholesale, but wholesale is a lot faster, right? Stuff is turning around and coming off the board within days as the listing program. It might be even, I don't know. If you guys go to my A1 Assets Instagram, I gave like a whole tour years ago of the whiteboards and all the deals. So you guys can probably get a better feel that way. How much capital do you think one should have? None. You don't need any. With the whole listing program, you're not spending any money. So you don't need any capital. You're selling your last 30 properties. What your seller financing terms? No seller finance, cash. I buy on seller finance. We don't sell on that. All right. If you guys have any other questions, you guys could shoot them. If not, I'm going to pull the script for you guys too.
I have a question, but it wasn't exactly on novation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you currently run VAs for any campaigns?
Yes.
Or since you're scaling back, or did you cut back your VAs? And who did you go through for your VAs? Or did you hire them individually, or did you go through an agency?
With the VAs, it was always... Obviously, you could use like Fiverr and Upwork and all that stuff. I want to say like I got connected with my girl on... It's been literally 10 years, so I don't know. I want to say like a Facebook group is how I got connected with her, and then it was always word of mouth. It started with this girl Alex, and then I think she knew. They just, the thing about the Philippines is a huge part of their workforce is like cold calling for overseas.
Yeah.
Like that's just what they do over there. And so like Alex knew somebody who knew somebody, and then that person knew somebody. I'm pretty sure the whole team just like grew like that, to be honest with you.
I had a friend move to the Philippines, but when I first started wholesaling, I had a whole VA team. I think I had a team of 5. That's when I did my most for like in terms of capital that I got. It was good, but at the same time it wasn't, because then I look at the numbers and the dead time on the phone. Like, how do you go from making 120 calls to making 30 calls and it's just dead air and I'm getting no leads, and you're on the call for 4 hours and there's nothing on it. So now you guys I actually reached out to the CEO and I was like, yo, son, I need my money. Like, I need my money. I really came in like that too. I was hot, man. I'm
The
paying, like,
VAs, it's
2
a lot
bands.
to them. You never want to hire a VA company ever. You always want it in-house. That's the big thing. We could do a whole nother segment on VAs next week if you guys want to. There's a lot I could talk about that.
Yeah, because when I do when I do get back to running VAs, I'm gonna do it in house.
Yeah, it's really, there's a lot, man. I'd spend 2 hours a day with those VAs every single day for like a couple of years. It's a lot. How do you handle VAs stealing your leads? It just depends on the CRM. And then, obviously, people you could trust too. That's the other big thing. Yeah, if you guys want, next week, I'm down to do a super deep dive. There's a lot I could say on that topic. Doug, I see you comment your thoughts on recent adjustments to the prime rates. What did it drop? 0.5%? I think I just saw that on TikTok today.
Yeah, they're talking about dropping like 0.5%. Like, wow, that's not that really big of a deal.
No, not really.
And it's going to move the market a little bit, but I mean, not really, even for like trad buyers, like retail buyers. It's not really going to push the needle. That's like, depending on the side of the house. I mean, that's $50-$75. It's fucking coffee money. I mean, I don't really see that really. I mean, a percent and a percent, a quarter percent, a half, yeah, but not 0.5%. That's really not going to do anything.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see too much change, to be honest. Not a whole lot.
Especially like if this is the only one for the year, and like if we don't get one like the end of the year, then yeah, like going into Q1 next year, there has to be a drop of like 1.5 points all next year, and usually before summer, for that to really move the needle for retail.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't pull loans. You guys know that. But what I see, just like knowing the topic, I mean, just think about it. There's so many people with rates at 2.5%, 3.5%. So I mean, 0.5 point. What does that drop it to? 6.5. What's prime at then? 6. So it's still,
where you go.
There's still a lot of people that are clinging to that low rate. Like, yo, I got 3.5%. I don't want to go buy something else. 1, real estate's through the freaking roof, and 2, and then I'll be at 6%.
The rates doubled, the house prices doubled. If you've had it for that long, then anything that you're looking for in terms of comparative or going a little bit bigger, your house it's double or triple in terms of cost. So I mean, it's not enough to move the needle.
Yeah. Yep. We shall see. I think a lot of things are going to come soon here, but we'll see. All right, I'll show you guys. Let me see if this is the right one. And then Ryan, were you able to put that script in the general chat?
No, I actually having trouble finding it.
It might be in the, if you don't mind, it might be in the general chat in the mastermind. If not, I could find it. I found the listing program, just pitching it to the sellers. Do you guys see this? Actually, this isn't it either. Hold on.
Hey, Eric. I have a quick question while you're digging into that. So, is there a max to the number of conventional loans you can get?
There is. I don't like I said. I don't pull loans. I think it's. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I want to say it's somewhere around 20. Could be totally off on that.
Now,
Yeah, I think I heard that on Bigger Pockets.
is that at one time or altogether? You can only get 20 conventional loans ever throughout your entire lifespan.
No, I think you do more than 20. To be honest, I don't know, Sean. To be honest.
All right. Well, we'll find out one way or another because I'm working on number 3 now.
Yeah, I'm not. I really don't know. I know there's no restriction on seller finance. That's why I do it.
Oh yeah, I'm going that route too.
Let's give me 1 second.
Oh wait, I found it. You put in the general chat in course. I mean the regular Discord.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Here's so what Ryan's posting for you guys is like just pitching it to an agent to get them on board to list your wholesale deals. You guys all have this script. This is inside the Discord. But so, obviously we're talking about cash. Then we're talking about creative finance, right? And if creative finance doesn't work, this is kind of, I don't know if this is the exact version you guys have, but this is kind of like the listing pitch, right? So, I don't know if it'll work for blank, so I don't think it's going to work for creative finance, or I get you don't want to, whatever. Let me ask you though, I mean, have you guys considered listing with an agent? Just try and get the most for the home? Yeah, we don't want to, blah, blah, blah. Well, I might have one other option that you guys might qualify for. Just to make sure I'm not wasting your time, how soon can you guys close on the property? And, play that out. All right, you guys should qualify. So the program, and then just the spiel, right? So the program allows for you to get the house on the market, except we have the buyer pay the commission. So there's no closing costs or fees for you. The only thing, this is Pennsylvania, the only thing you're going to be responsible for is the 1% transfer tax. You can kill that if you want to too, or your state might just not even have that. But that's really it. And you can play with this a little bit, right? So I might have a program. I'd have to see if we can get you qualified. This is what it is. And then qualify them. You can play with the order of this, but that's the general idea, right? So always cash, then creative finance, and then listing program. And we just work it in this order. All right. Any questions, I guess, at all on the Novation? No?
You said you dropped that script in the general chat of the Discord, Eric?
That's going to be in...
And the script support.
Yeah.
I think Ryan put it in the general chat.
They're different than this one, though. Here, it's right here. What he put is going to be the script to pitch this to the listing agent. So like, hey, do you list wholesale deals? Like having that combo. And then this one that I'm showing you guys, or just showed you, that's pitching it to the actual owner. Yeah, it's just in the script section, scripts channel. And I think it's cold offer script. This guy right here. All right, we have 10 minutes, guys. Let's do any super urgent deals you guys need help on.
I posted one up.
You're first in the queue.
All right, let's get it. All right, so super motivated seller.
I don't have buyers here.
You don't. One of the buyers I was talking to, he said he buys mobile home parks all over the place. He just bought one in North Carolina. So
I'm telling you, you're gonna waste so much time doing stuff like this.
Okay.
I promise. I know it. You're probably like, damn, but dude, I'm telling you, I promise, Ryan, you're gonna waste. I've tried this. It's just the buyers list don't support it, and one or two guys ain't enough to do deals.
Okay, I got you.
If you want to, I mean, look, I'm happy to look at it for you, but who produced this? How'd they end up this far?
Michelle,
How'd she end up over there?
you know how our stuff is.
Well, yeah, but we just corrected that this morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm telling you, just stay in this circle. Like this is like so middle of nowhere. I would just ask your buyer first, Ryan. Like, do you guys? I don't even know how to say the city. Do you guys buy in the city?
Okay.
Before you waste a ton of time. You want me to comp this for you, or?
Well, no. I have the expenses and rent roll. I was just, I guess, more curious as to what cap rate do you think this could sell at?
I mean, it's a trailer, 30.
It's actually 9 trailers. If you read the description, there's 9 trailers for sale on that.
All right, that changes some things.
Yeah, the gross rents per year is $100,000.
It's just kind of like what I was saying the other day. Like, I don't know. I don't think these trailers are worth 70, 80 a pop.
Yeah, okay.
Or 60, 70 a pop. What's the cash on it?
So the expenses it gave us was taxes and insurance. Everything else is on the tenant. So we got 12,000 in taxes plus. She said insurance is $500 to $1,000 per trailer per year. So we'll do 9. So that's another. So that's around 20,000 taxes and insurance. That leaves you with 80K NOI. And
CapEx vacancy.
CapEx, take out what, another 30%?
Altogether, yeah, call 30% between vacancy and CapEx.
Okay, so 20 plus 30.
30 out of the 100, so that leaves you with 70. 70 minus the 20, you're at 50 for a true NOI.
Okay, so 50, and then at the dispo price would probably be.
Well, actually, hold on. That 50 is even before your debt payment too.
Well, NOI is before debt service, right?
No, because that's going to be your true net income. So what am I actually making on this deal?
I got you.
So is there seller finance on this, or?
No. So the dude's about to die, and he doesn't want to property just kids. He wants just cash offer.
All right, somebody's going to get financing though. No one's going to hold it cash. What they want for this? $899.
Yeah, that's not the price that we negotiated down to. Which I told her, why do you even negotiate without knowing the numbers? But she got them down to $680.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then you guys will mark it up how much?
Like 70, 50, 70. 30.
Let's call it like, I don't know, 720.
750.
Yeah, and then let's do 25% for the down payment, lender fees, all that. That's another, so 180,000, approximately 180, 200,000 on the buy.
Wow.
You make 50. The return's looking good. So let's take the 50,000. Well, hold on. That's before debt, right? So.
Yeah. So yeah, the tenants are responsible for everything. So I'm curious if the CapEx would go down. Utilities, trash, maintenance, all that stuff, tenants are responsible for. The only thing we're responsible for is property taxes and insurance.
CapEx will be anything big though. And trailers are nothing but issues.
Okay,
Lots
but
issues.
Since all the repairs are on the tenants.
All the repairs though?
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. I just talked to the agent myself and she was like, yeah, everything's on the tenants.
I think moving forward, it's probably not going to work that way.
Okay.
Not all the repairs. So let's just keep that the same. So that means they'd have a debt of 544,000. Commercial is going to be 20-year RAM. Let's say they get a 6% rate. So Let's go 50,000, little backwards, divided by 12. That's 4166. And then minus your 3897. So if somebody gets a loan, they make $269 a month. And there's 9 trailers. You make $29 a month per person per trailer.
All right. Yeah, so scratch it.
You got to drop that price. If you altered, let's say you could swing the capex at 10%. So that throws an extra what? What would that be? We did 20% of 899, right? 179, divide that by 2. So that puts an extra $89,000. Divide that by 12. 74. All right, so that, I think that changes a lot. Or hold on, that was wrong. You said $100,000 a year is what it makes?
Yeah.
Let's just rework this. Let's go 10% vacancy. Let's go 10% capex. That's 20,000 annually, left with 80.
Minus another
80 for what?
property tax and insurance.
All right, so 60, yep. 60 divided by 12, hold on. 60 divided by 12, 5,000. Your payment's 38. So, I mean, now, all right, so now we're starting to make some money. Take out the 3897, so you make $1,100 a month. Profit, a true profit times 12 months, 13,000. You put what, 180 into the deal?
Yeah.
200 even. If it was only $1.80 going into the deal, you're at a 7% cash on cash.
Which is other mobile home is better than that.
Yeah, that's trash.
And another thing to break the deal, that's without property management in there.
Yeah.
All right. Scratch it. Got it.
I'd get tightened down on, like, dude, I'd be like in my office, it'd be like, what are we doing? Like scold them. Like, what, why are we out here?
Yeah.
This is not even close to our market.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did that. Like, this is it. You'll have random buyers scattered, right? So we got one in Orlando, one up in Jacksonville, one in Crystal River, one down in Sarasota. But we just want to focus on the hub. Because it's just going to get ugly, even if it is real deals, like with 1 or 2 people interested. It's like, you know, we can't wholesale like that.
I got you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Obviously didn't get it, but
Let's see if we can squeeze one more deal in here. Who was asking earlier in the chat before something died? Was that Doug? Or Sean? No? All right, Melody, what's up with this one?
One, I don't know if it's too far up from, like, you know, what you were just talking about, like in the area.
Let me, I think
It's
so.
like right above Spring Hill, so it might be too far out.
Yeah, right up, I'll show you this really quick. Because you're just like using our buyers list, right?
Yeah, I'm just really trying to, like, get in.
Past this, it gets like iffy.
Okay.
Even
All
like right, to be honest, like right up in here is just kind of iffy, this whole area. You can still look here, but it could be, it's turning into like hit or miss.
Okay. Yeah, never mind then.
Okay. Alrighty. I guess anybody have any other questions before we wrap things up? Joe, you got
we'll say our farewells.
Oh yeah. And Ricky, what happened? What's going on with your probate, dude?
Still working on it, man. I talked to the seller yesterday and on Monday actually, and he actually calls me a lot more than I call him, which is crazy. I guess he's just a little bored. But tomorrow we're gonna start looking at the probate process. He's happy to file it because, you know, we can't find that man, and you know, he wants to go back to Texas, so we're probably just gonna go the probate process.
Nice. All right.
So tomorrow we should get things going on that. But I just want to know if you had any, because I know you're pretty big on the, like 0 days on Zillow or 1 day on Zillow. Do you have any pointers on just locking it up quick? Because every now and then I do see smoking deals, but Ryan knows as well. Atlanta's a very competitive market. So if you see a deal, you really need to lock it up quick. So do you have any tips or pointers on how to just get it under contract ASAP? Like, should we do like an expiration on our offer or anything really?
Yeah, exactly what you said. So you could put an expiration on it, or just try and create some urgency. Like, hey, look, we're looking at a few other deals. I need an answer by today.
Okay.
Make sure you put a contingency on it based on the inspection period or whatever, so that way you can back out if it's too bad of a deal.
Right.
If you're flying in too fast on those deals, you're gonna get stuck with a shit pile.
Yeah, that happened to me earlier this year. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Is there any other pointers or anything like any tricks of the trade? Because I know there's
coming off hot, dude. It's like coming off hot. Like, I need this house. Like, Ryan, the listing agent, dude, I need this house. Like, you have to pull this off for me. Like, put that pressure on them. Also, the commission, right? So, Ryan, can you represent me? He's going to be more inclined to fight for our offer because he gets both sides of the coin, both sides of the commission. But just like, I almost like put the pressure on these agents. Like, Ryan, can I count on you to get this done? I'll try, dude. I need you to do this. Can I count on you to pull this off, please? And you know what I mean? So kind of like that. And then also like talk of like future business, which is totally true. Keep in mind, like I could tell Ryan, like, never met the dude, like, Ryan, dude, if you could pull this off for me, I got 5 other deals you could represent me on this week. I'm counting on you to get this done. Don't let me down. Like, really put it in their head. And they're like, damn, dude, I really should try and get this deal for Ricky because he's going to give me future business. And the future business, that's all true. Dude, I can give a listing agent 10 deals to represent me on today, because all that comes down to is, hey, Ryan, the real estate agent, make an offer for me at 50 on this one. Make an offer for me at 100 on this one. And then boom, I'm truly giving this person actual business.
Right.
So.
Okay. I'm going to definitely use that. Can I count on you to get this done? That I see that working very well.
They'll laugh. It'll sometimes they'll add a little humor into it too. Like, I'll try, but it'd just be like, dude, I need this house. I need you to pull this off. Don't let me down. And people don't, people don't want to let anybody down. That's just like human nature, right? So they'd be like, all right, man, I'll try and get this deal for them.
Man, that's good. That's spicy right there. I'm gonna try that. And like right when we get off of this call, I have a few that I have in mind. I'm just gonna hit them with the "Can I count on you, man? Like, we need this. We need this."
Yeah, like look, Ryan, the real estate agent. If you could pull this off, I'll give you 5 other properties today you could represent me on. How does that like? Can you do that?
Buy me a dinner too. We have a deal.
Good, get it done.
You like what kind of steak do you like?
It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to say like arrogance, but like a lot of confidence behind like what you're saying, and that'll make you stand out too. Like if you're it's really, really important trying to like work on just like communication skills, like how you're talking, your level of conviction, right? Like I try and speak with a lot of conviction, but now it's somewhat just like naturally. It's just like part of who I am after practicing it for years on end. But that I think has a huge impact on the competitive deals, right? Like Josh made an offer at 150. I made an offer at 145, and Tony made an offer at 155. Like, dude, I've been able to get many deals lower than what other people have offered just because of the confidence in who they perceive me to be, I guess. You know what I mean? If you're just like, yeah, we can do 150. Okay, yeah, just let me know. Opposed to the guy that's coming off hot. Like, dude, I need this. We're doing multiple deals every single month. Like, don't let me down, please. I'll give you a lot of business if you pull this off. Like, who are they going to remember, right? Yeah. Like you're very close in the offer. They're like, yo, this guy, I don't know him, seller, but he sounds legit, man. He's buying real estate all day. I think he's going to pull it off. You know?
Right. I've always I've always
They don't-
avoided that just because I didn't want them to say, "Oh, he really wants this," and then they try to hit me with the counter that doesn't make sense. But I mean, in a competitive market, that might help, even if I go like a couple grand over.
It's the confidence too with the price. Like, and look, I told them too, like, dude, I don't counter. I don't do that. 140 is my best number. There is no going up. So tell them I'm not playing games. I need an answer today though, or I'm buying something else. They'd be like, oh, damn. But the other thing too, why these agents will sometimes push an offer lower is because they get the full commission.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, Eric's at 140. They got another offer at 150. They might just push my 140 because one, this guy sounds really confident, and two, I'm getting the full commission as the listing agent. Let me try and get the seller to do that 140. I'll make more. These agents are dirty, dude.
10 to the 4 and try to put this into practice.
Ryan, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah, but yeah, man. So yeah, that's
10 to the
really,
4.
that's the only tips I got for that.
All right, appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. What's up, Joe?
Or I guess my last question. Austin did reply back, and he said, "Okay, thanks," to the message about moving forward with the contract of deeds. So it seems like that's something that is going to happen, and I'm just trying to see. He already replied back, so I'm just trying to figure out what I should say next to.
Say that one. I was looking at the chat. What did he respond with?
He said, "Okay, thanks," because I said we would be interested. My partner and I, Eric, would be interested in doing the contract for deed, and he said, "Okay, thanks" to that.
Ask if he spoke to the seller. Have you spoke to the seller about that? If he said yes, then like, you know, what are their thoughts about it?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last question was with Stu. I emailed him and said, "Hey, have you spoke to the attorney about the creative finance deal?" And if he replies yes, yada yada, he agreed to it. And then what's a good reply for that potentially?
They agree to do it.
If he does, I haven't heard back.
Yeah. If they say like, yeah, they're open to doing it, or if they say they want to do it, then ask them for the most recent loan statement since we're taking over the mortgage.
Okay.
Well, I guess there's not going to be a loan statement because one of the debts is the son, right?
So yeah, one of the debts is the son and the liens.
So just ask them for the debt balance and then the monthly payment.
Okay.
Both loans, I guess. Yeah, and then if you figure that out today or tomorrow, just ping me in the general chat, and then I'll get with you. We can push it further.
Okay, and another interesting question. You guys were talking about the market interest rate dropped to 0.5. So would that have any issues, I guess, on any of these potential deals? Or I'm just trying to understand.
No, that doesn't affect us on the creative at all.
Right. Only if you're doing cash potentially.
Not even, no, just people buying and getting a loan. Now they have a lower rate.
Yeah,
So-
and it's only 0.5%, which really doesn't amount to much unless you're buying a shit ton of properties all at once.
Or commercial.
Or yeah, commercial too.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, man. Alrighty. Anybody, I guess, have any other questions before we wrap stuff up?
Let's sling some paper.
Let's do it. And for those of you guys too, I'll say this like on a weekly basis because a lot of people want to like partner and do stuff like that. For anybody that's like not too interested in like doing this on your own, you're like, I'd rather work with somebody. Ryan and Grant, they're building a freaking awesome team. I pop in there like every week, say something like that, and I'll work with their team too. So if you guys are interested in trying to like fast track making money and getting deals closed, like his team's awesome. There's a lot of people that I think the majority of your team, Ryan, isn't from the community, right? But a few people are.
I don't know if y'all know Blaze. He's on our team.
Blaze is killing it. He's doing multiple contracts. We had I don't know if it was you or Grant, Ryan, that was telling me the other day that Brandon he's in the normal Discord with all of us. He was in the Discord for like a few months and didn't contract or do any deals, and then a week inside working with you guys, he's doing contracts, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I'm dispoing one of his deals right now, and he got another one on Tuesday in Florida. So
sometimes too, like so if you guys are interested in the team, like Ryan, if you want to drop your number, that'd be cool. You guys can connect with him. If you guys aren't interested in a team, it's for some people. Some people just want to do this on your own. What I really, really recommend is accountability. I used to say this all the time. I preach it. Like, try and find somebody. If you're not wanting to work in a team and you're solely focused on, like, dude, I want to do this on my own, find somebody that's also like somewhere in the same level as you, like, hey, I'm just getting started, or I got a deal or two under my belt, whatever, and just try and like lock in, like, yo, Ryan, let's hop on it. When are you free? Like, when are you not at your job? Oh, you're free on weekends, you're free at Friday evenings, whatever. Like, yo, would you be down to connect? We'll hop on a Zoom. You work your stuff, I'll work my stuff, but we're like there holding each other accountable, like actually making the phone calls, making it work. Right? Like, oh man, I don't want to work 2 hours on Saturday. But if I start doing stuff with Ryan and we're like, yeah, Ryan, let's do 2 hours on Saturday, 12 to 2, I might wake up and be like, damn, I don't want to Saturday. I don't want to make these phone calls. I want to go hang out or whatever, but Ryan's counting on me. So now it forces you to take that action, right? So having an accountability partner is huge, really, really important. And you don't have to work together on deals. You could do your own thing, but just, be on a Zoom together, right? We're just going to work. And if I got a question, you could help me and vice versa. So just keep that in mind. If you guys aren't looking to be a part of a team, I highly recommend just linking with somebody.
I have a question just for Ryan, if he's still here. I scheduled a phone interview with you guys, and I was supposed to receive a call one day, but it never came through. So they rescheduled me, and I still didn't receive a call. So I just didn't know. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or because I got the Google invite and I accepted both of them, but I just never got a call.
That's weird. It should have gone through. Let me write down your name and let Grant know.
Okay. I messaged him on Discord too, because I just didn't know if it was on my side or what.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, we'll get that in and get you scheduled in for tomorrow. I'll reach out to you though.
Thank you.
Cool.
Ryan, what you're doing is you're wholesaling properties through InvestorLift or another platform like that, right?
No, we have our own buyers in Arkansas, Georgia, and Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, InvestorLift is great, but first of all, it costs a lot of money, and second, it's only as good as the deal. Like, if the deal's good, you're gonna find a buyer, you know?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm in a group right now that wholesaling on InvestorLift, and we've got like a little over 9 million buyers, but it's nationwide.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it is expensive as hell.
I'll throw this out for everybody. Jerry Perez, I think you pulled him, Jerry Perez, in the Discord or whatever. He spent money on InvestorLift. He's down to like partner with anybody nationwide. So if you guys are struggling to find a buyer, hit him up, and he'll put it on InvestorLift, and then you guys can do a joint venture. So just keep that in mind too. Alrighty. All right, guys. We will wrap it up at that. You guys got Zoom with Terrell tomorrow, and then I'll be back with you guys Tuesday.
Yo, Eric.
Yo.
Just had a quick question about InvestorLift. You mentioned it. What's your take on it? Like, you like InvestorLift, or like?
I never used it. I've always had my own cash buyers.
I guess my thing is, like, it's supposed to be off-market deals, but the second you make like a centralized location for off-market deals, it becomes a market, right? It's not really an off-market deal if it's in one spot. Is that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm just wondering. I mean, InvestorLift, that's my opinion on it, but I'm just seeing what you're thinking on it.
I'm not sure. As far as
it's like off-market deals, but it's in a centralized location, so it's like, how is that off-market? But
yeah,
nonetheless, sounds good, man. I'll hit you up, general chat, if I need anything. Appreciate it.
All right. Sweet, for sure. Oh, one last thing. Xander, are you still here?
I am.
I almost forgot to bring you up too. Xander, he's covering Atlanta, a little bit of Florida, I think, and Pennsylvania. So if you guys want to, he's not looking to like hire people or anything at the moment, but I was speaking to him. He was saying he's down to work with people. So if you guys are doing deals in Atlanta, select areas in Pennsylvania and Florida, he's down to do joint ventures too. He has a pretty big buyers list, real big buyers list too. So if you guys need like deal help or looking to partner, he's the guy too. Xander, put your whatever you want, contact info, Discord number, whatever in the chat.
There's my number.
Sweet. Cool.
And my name on Discord is just Xander.
And you've been in the group how long, Xander?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half? Yeah. So Xander's awesome at comping. He's got the buyers. I mean, the whole nine. So the other resource, if you guys want to partner with somebody.
Sweet.
Cool. All right, guys. Enjoy the evening, and I'll see you guys Tuesday. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.